All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to tackle a huge question for global brands. Why do so many completely fail when they try to enter the European market? Here's a hint. It's not about being seen, it's about being understood. We're going to break down the most common traps and explore a major strategic shift from just chasing metrics to building something way more valuable, real connection. This right here gets to the absolute heart of the problem. Being visible in Europe is not enough. It's such a simple sentence, but wow, it exposes a massive flaw in so many international marketing plans. You can pour tons of money into ads, you can watch your follower count tick up, but if none of that activity builds actual trust, it's just really expensive noise. And that's the disconnect we're going to explore. And this visualizes that conflict perfectly. It's like you've got two different scoreboards. On one side, there's visibility. That's all the easy-to-measure stuff, the superficial metrics, like impressions and clicks. But on the other side, you have connection. This stuff is definitely harder to quantify, but it's where all the real value is. Trust, reputation, genuine engagement. The critical mistake so many brands make is they get obsessed with the numbers on the left, and they totally neglect building the foundation on the right.
And that leads us straight into what a lot of strategists call the visibility trap. Just think of it like a hamster wheel for your ad budget. You're running fast, the numbers are spinning, it looks really impressive in a report, but you're not actually going anywhere. It's this dangerous illusion of progress that has zero real impact on the business itself.
And here's the bottom line, where it really hurts. A staggering amount of international marketing budget gets completely wasted chasing the wrong metrics in new places. We're talking massive figures. And that's not just money down the drain. It's all the lost opportunities, the missed leads, and sometimes it's a damaged brand reputation that is way harder to fix than it would have been to build right in the first place. So this begs a really critical question, especially for all the amazing, thriving companies coming from dynamic markets in Asia and Latin America. Why does a playbook that works perfectly at home so often fail to translate to Europe? Where exactly is that disconnect happening? Okay, let's look at the classic warning signs. See if any of this sounds familiar. Your social channels look active, but it feels like you're shouting into an empty room. There's just no engagement. Your content, the stuff that works so well back home, just kind of lands with a thud in Europe. Maybe it feels a bit generic or way too self-promotional. You find yourself totally dependent on third-party agents for sales, and the media outlets that really matter, they don't even know you exist. These aren't just isolated problems. They are all symptoms of a much deeper cultural and strategic gap. But hey, this disconnect is not insurmountable. Not at all. A great way to solve it is to think of the solution as a bridge. We're going to take a look at a framework from an agency called GATTOBRACCO, which is designed specifically to move a brand from being isolated to creating a genuine dialogue. Let's dig into how a model like this actually works. The foundation of this whole bridge model is something they call cross-cultural expertise. And look, this is so crucial. This is not about just translating your ads word for word. It's about translating your brand's very soul, its core identity, into a voice that feels completely local and authentic. That's a subtle difference, but it's everything. You don't change who you are, you just change how you introduce yourself. This table breaks down perfectly how an agency like this shows its value. They connect their advantage directly to your benefit. So, for example, cross-cultural expertise isn't just some buzzword. It means your brand is actually understood and valued. A local presence doesn't just mean having an office. It means you get access to key media and partnerships. This is how you build the argument to shift your spending away from empty visibility and towards real, lasting credibility. Okay, so that's the philosophy behind it. But how does it work in practice? Let's take a look at the actual toolkit used to build that connection on the ground.
What's really smart here is the flow. It's a 5-step process where each stage just naturally leads to the next. It all starts with strategy, because without a roadmap, you're just guessing. That strategy then dictates the content, the stories you're going to tell. That content then gets a boost through targeted advertising and gets legitimized through PR. And finally, you have strategic partnerships with local influencers to act as this powerful force multiplier. It's a complete system, not just a random list of services.
And this highlights a critical piece that so many brands get wrong: language. And I don't mean just running your copy through a translation app. This is about cultural nuance. A campaign that works great in Spain might need a total rethink for France. This approach is all about crafting messages that feel truly native in English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, and Italian. Because, and this is key, Europe is not one single market. So as we start to wrap this up, we come full circle, right back to that central idea. The ultimate goal for a successful launch in Europe isn't just to be seen by millions of people. It's to be understood and, eventually, to be valued by them.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? The challenge isn't getting seen. The challenge is being understood, valued, and remembered. Honestly, that right there is the new gold standard for any brand that wants to succeed on a global stage.
So the key takeaway is this simple. Visibility might get your foot in the door. It lets people know you exist. But connection is what gets you a seat at the table.
And that leaves us with one final big question for any brand looking towards Europe. Is your current strategy built for just appearing there, or is it fundamentally built for connecting?
So if this idea of building a cultural bridge is something your team is exploring, GATTOBRACCO, whose model we've looked at today, is one of the companies that specializes in exactly this. All their information's right here. Thanks for tuning in.